If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land.
My name is Ray Johns. I'm your host, and the name of my show is Voices Not Yet Heard. And as we say every week, we hope that we'll become your voice, your vehicle, so that your voice can be heard. Last week, we talked about hope. We also talked about the pursuit of happiness, and we talked about the American dream. And if you recall, the divorced mother of three who I asked about the American dream, and she told me that she didn't even have time to think about the American dream because she was too busy putting food on the table and feeding her three children. Well, I talked to a few other people today, and it gets worse. It seems like a lot of the American people, the hardworking American people, they don't believe in the American dream anymore. They think that it probably worked for their grandparents and possibly their parents, but somehow it has eluded them. And I find that so sad. But I understand why. I understand because for the last 7 3/4 years here, we've been oppressed. And I know that's a heavy word, but that's the way I look at it, by this administration. This is an administration, ladies and gentlemen, where our economy, for instance, let's take the housing market. This is the lowest in 41 years for the purchase of homes, sit back since 1965. You know, goods, food, things to sustain your family cost 4 times as much, and wages have stayed the same. So what that means is the wage earner is making the same amount of money he made 8 years ago and trying to pay 3 times the money for the food. Now, how sad is that? I said once, when you take God out of the equation, what have you got? Okay? I would like to see this young generation standing up and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance like we did. And I'll tell you why, because it brings character. It breeds character. Okay? When you're 9, 10 years old and you're wearing your Cub Scout uniform and you're standing there with your hand on your chest, it probably doesn't mean as much as 10 years later when you're 20 years old and you just stepped off that ship and you're walking across the street and the Marine band walks by and plays Stars and Stripes. Believe me, it makes a difference. We need God back in this equation with this country. I'm so proud today because Gary Miguel, 2 weeks in a row, is back, and I don't have to say very much about this man. I mean, you can't say every week I say he's a wealth of information. He's more than that. Gary?
Well, thank you,
Come on
Ray.
in here, buddy.
Well, listen, it's an honor to be back, and I thank you.
You're very, very welcome. We love having you on the show. And I want to say something else. Gary sends me phenomenal texts and emails, and I didn't tell him until he got here. Next week, or the next time he comes on, he's going to come, and we're going to go through those things because they will inform you, and that's what we're here to do. We have 69 days left, ladies and gentlemen, until this country steps up to the plate and makes a decision about the direction of this great country. Huh, Gary?
Yes, sir. And this election is, as we have said before, and the more I look into it the more it goes along here, I begin to realize, hey, this is some real serious stuff.
Absolutely.
There's never been anything, quite frankly, that's determined the direction as far as a 180-degree direction.
Absolutely.
As this since the Civil War. Now, we've had a lot of situations in this country, but it was always in one direction.
Absolutely.
This time, it's about the country itself going in a different direction. So this election is something that people have to take serious, and those who are participating in it will be proud of the fact that they are part of it.
This is the most exciting times of my lifetime. I've said it before on this very show. You know, we're all a part of history here.
Yes, sir.
We're history in the making right here. And like we said, you don't have to be on a radio show like Gary and I. You
Right.
just have to be an American citizen making a decision for your country. That's it.
Well, you know, if you really get down and look at it and look at the evidence, let me tell you what I kind of came to me the other day was, you know what, this thing is as close as ever come to becoming a socialist communist country as it has ever been.
How sad is that? You
Now,
know?
all we have to do is look at the evidence.
Sure.
And if we go back over the last 60 years or 50 years and start going step by step, what kids hear in school today is nothing what we heard in the same classroom.
Oh, no, not
Even
at
though
all.
we, still America. Still America. So how come that has changed? And if you look at the evidence as far as what's changed as far as taking God out of, and the Pledge of Allegiance, and the flag, and
Yes.
on and on and on, it's a little drip by drip by drip deal that has gone on for 50 years, and it's coming to a head. And Obama was the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at his policies and things that he's done, for instance, there's never been a president pass that many regulations.
Never, ever in the history
Never
of this
that
country.
many executive orders. Never a president increased the national debt to the point that no other president has ever done that. like he
$19
has
trillion
done.
as of a couple of weeks
Double
ago.
what it was when he took
Exactly. That's $58,000, ladies and gentlemen, for every man, woman, and child in this great country.
over. More people on welfare, more people
Twice
under
as much.
government
Subsidies
dependency and
and
subsidies and
yeah.
so forth. I mean, just go on and see what has happened in a very short period of time, almost without anyone noticing it, because it's back to the frog in that boiling water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you take a kettle and you put it full of water and you put a frog in it and heat it up. Well, that frog will just stay there the whole time and die.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you take a kettle of boiling water and you get a frog out, and then he'll fly
Right
out of there and
yeah.
get out of there. So what has been going on is this: we've been in this. We're the frog
In this water.
in this
That's,
water.
I understand. Great
Yeah.
analogy.
Yeah.
Great analogy.
And so when we start to look and see, well, we start to look at the little things that's going on with the schools and just little by little. I'll give you a Common Core. One time, while we had our local schools. Now they're trying to get federal government police. They're chipping away at the Second Amendment.
Slowly by
Slowly by slowly. Okay, but think of those executive orders and think of the regulations that are on there, and they're just on and on. And so you might say, well, why doesn't the Republicans stop that? Because they're in it.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, this is not about Democrats.
Or Republicans.
Exactly. And it really is not about Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. I'll tell you what it is about: communism or freedom. That's what
That's
this
the choice
election's
we
about.
have coming.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't
We're
care if you
headed-
don't like Trump. I don't care if you don't like Clinton. But I'll tell you what, you better like his freedom.
Yep.
And you better make the right decision when you go to the polls.
And you and I have said this before. I don't know. We've got so much evidence against this woman, Gary. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. You and I have talked about it on several different occasions, and yet she still has a following. You know.
Well, it's because what communists call, I didn't invent the word, useful idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's think about that for a minute. We already are in a dictatorship and don't even know it. I'll tell you another piece of evidence. What is it that Hillary is not in prison with anybody else in the world would be with just talking about the top
average
secret
per- Yes.
violation of top
Yeah.
secrets, right? Now let's go beyond that. Now we go beyond that. How about pay for play, money laundering?
That's what the Clinton
What
Foundation is
is
all
it
about.
that- what is it that she's not in prison when you would be or I'd be the first
course.
day?
Well, look at I keep
It's
coming back to
it
this.
can't have that.
Look at General Petraeus,
Yeah.
stripped of everything.
Right.
I don't know what happened to him, but I know that
Yeah.
he was disgraced for not doing
Yeah.
1/100th of what Hillary Clinton did.
Well, and then it's already corrupt in the sense that Loretta, what's her name?
Lynch.
Lynch.
The
Loretta
the
Lynch.
Attorney General.
She was bought.
Well, of course she
Or
was.
she was-
You and I talked
or
about
she
that
was,
in Denver when
yeah.
they met in Colorado.
She was bought or scared, one or the other.
And what's good? I'll tell you what upsets me. I had so much faith in Comey, the FBI director. You know,
He was
You
compromised.
doggone right he was. And
Yeah.
then I find out. Now, I don't know if you know this. I was going to talk to you about this the other day. I called you, and you were busy, or something happened, and I couldn't get through to you. But I found out that Comey goes all the way back to the Clintons when he was a prosecutor.
That's right. I did
I figured
too.
you probably
Yeah.
knew that. You may have told me,
Yeah.
but that amazed me.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, this man who I thought was he was the head of the FBI. I thought, oh man, he's going to nail Hillary Clinton.
But man, if that isn't evidence of a dictatorship already,
Certainly it is.
when you have somebody that, like Clinton, and how she gets off this, gets off all along the line, I mean, that's what dictators get away with. Dictators have two laws: one for the people, one for them.
One for themselves,
Well,
absolutely.
What do you got with Hillary? One for me and one for y'all.
And she's already sold this country down
Oh,
the river in the first place.
In the first place.
You know? Sold it down the river. I mean, with Putin, with the platinum, with all
Oh
that
my
stuff.
God!
you
I
know?
mean, it goes on and on.
It goes
and
on
what
and on.
in the world does she want? Bringing in all these Muslims that she wants to bring in by 550% more than Obama.
That's what you. I
What
remember
in
you
the
saying
world
that.
is she thinking?
And ISIS has already made a statement. We will infiltrate.
Absolutely.
And I love what Trump said. You know, if you're from Libya, if you're from Syria, you're not coming here.
No.
And you shouldn't.
No.
The American people are sick and
Well,
tired of being afraid.
Well, that is, the thing is, you can't have somebody that's going to come here that doesn't believe in our values and our assimilate into what our culture is.
That's
if you're
what's
if
happening.
you're coming in here to change our culture, then stay out.
And that's
Yeah.
what's happened with this present administration. Things have
Exactly.
changed. You know, it's like this is no longer America.
Right.
And when Hillary Clinton stands up and says, mocking Donald Trump and says, America's already great again. Well, maybe America is, but the people are not.
Of course not. And here's the thing, they're great again for her if she gets late. And here's the thing, you'll notice when I know she doesn't bring it up anymore, but she says vote for her or support her. What's wrong with supporting the American people?
Absolutely.
That's what Trump comes back with.
We have got to put this, and
It's
Gary
ridiculous.
came up with this, and I love it. We've got to put America first, just like Donald Trump is. I no longer want to be known as an African American.
Isn't that something?
I want to be an American African or an American black.
Exactly.
That's what I want to be known
I mean,
as.
everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
In fact, I feel I have some friends of mine. Well, we talk. Just
Mm-hmm.
we all have a nationality of our own and so forth. But don't bring my nationality up first. Bring America first.
absolutely. This is our. I can't say it enough. I am so proud of this country, and I'm so proud to be an
Right.
American. I really am. I love this country, and that's the thing about Donald Trump.
Exactly.
That's it. I mean, you and I talked about it before. He did not have to run.
No.
The man didn't run.
Oh, absolutely not.
And I don't think he wanted to run, Gary. I think he looked around.
He did not want to run.
He couldn't
That's
find
right.
somebody to do this
Exactly.
that he could support, and he said, well, you know what? I'm going to do it, And I don't
Yeah.
think, and he didn't do it for power. He doesn't need that. He certainly doesn't need money. He didn't do it for that. He did it because he loves this country, and he loves
Wants
the
to pay
people of
back.
this country, and he wants to make. And I'm going to tell you something else, and I said it a couple of weeks ago, and this excites me. I'll tell you another reason that Donald Trump may not even know this. He knows he has a big ego, but that's what I'm using. Donald Trump has a tremendous ego. Donald Trump is not going to fail Donald Trump.
No.
And he's not. Donald Trump's not going to let Donald Trump down. And guess who benefits because of that?
Of course.
We do.
Yeah. Well, if you want to think about it, we've been through this a year now.
Mm-hmm.
What if Donald Trump did not run?
Oh my goodness! Can you imagine having somebody like?
Can you imagine this? What would be sitting here debating between somebody like that's owned by the same people
somebody
that
like
own the other
Cruz
one?
or somebody? Yeah.
Can you imagine what that'd be
Special interest. That's what I
Oh,
love
my
about
God.
it. This man stood a little bit over a year ago.
like? God sent that guy, really, if you think about
Absolutely. 17 people on the stage, and now there's only one standing. What does that tell you? Time after time after time, he's overcome everything. That's the kind of person I want for
it.
president.
Well,
of the United
another
States.
thing, it's little things that I guess he takes for granted, but this Mexican president last Friday asked him and Hillary that he'd meet with him.
Hillary didn't show up.
She didn't show up. Well, she said, "Oh, that's impossible. It takes 2 months to get something like that arranged," and she went on about, and then I got to think because I did read about what does it take for like Obama to go, let's say, or any president, 2 months of preparation and planning, 2 to
Since
3
Gary.
airplanes hauling cars, and
the
then
equipment
all
and
the
people. Yes.
people, 500 people are involved in all that. Okay, now, Trump gets 5-day notice, goes down there one day, meets with the guy with his plane,
in his own
in his own
airplane.
airplane, comes right back out, accomplished every bit as much as anybody else could have hoped to,
Absolutely.
if not more. Probably, well, way more than what Obama would
Can
have
you
done.
imagine the cost to the American people of Obama going down
Oh,
there?
my,
You
I
know?
mean, it's incredible.
It's in 3 airplanes, 500 people.
Oh, and then all that gone on for who knows how long. I read one time how many millions and millions it cost, but I'm not going to say because I don't remember the value. But it's mind-boggling
Well,
for
I
just
can
just one trip to go talk to the guy. Trump does it like that in 5. Now here's the other side of it. Trump knew that day he had the biggest speech he was going to give since his campaign. Now,
And
wouldn't
it
the
was.
average guy say, "Man, I can't give that speech. I'm doing this. No, he brings that airplane back. He must have afterburner on that airplane.
He must. You know, it amazes me, Gary. I mean, well, you're a pilot. You know about all that stuff. But can you imagine that, you know, like all of a sudden he just gets up and he goes into what I call hostile
Oh,
territory.
absolutely hostile.
And he was not afraid to do that. He walked in there.
That's another thing.
And I'll tell you something. And I hope a lot of you saw that speech. We're going to show a little bit of the Cincinnati speech when we get a chance here real quick. But I tell you, it was just phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I think it was his best speech so far.
And you know, he went down there and talked to that president in a very nice way, and you could tell that there was respect involved there.
Absolutely.
And here's what was neat. The wall was sold because it is really as important to Mexico as it is to the U.S.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
You
is.
see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And that president knows that.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and that point got across.
That's why I think, you know, you look at him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's going to do everything he said. He's going to build the wall, okay?
Yeah.
He's going to bring prosperity back in this country by making the middle class bigger. We're going to have an enormous middle class, ladies and gentlemen, and that's going to be jobs. It's going to be prosperity for everyone in this country.
Well, here's the thing, Ray. The Mexican government for years and years, well, as long as you want to go, but think about Mexico for a minute. Mexico should be one of the richest nations in the world. And all it needs is leadership.
Absolutely. They have great resources.
If I was down there in Mexico and I'm looking at this guy Trump, I'd sit there and I'd say, "Wow, this is pretty cool." You know
It's
what I
gonna
mean?
further me along down
Yeah.
the line. Yeah,
You see, it's important. And that president, I was impressed with the Mexican president.
I was too.
You know, and I think that there could be a lot of progress made for Mexico and for the United States as far as, you know, working together, and that would benefit both countries' people tremendously.
Oh, I think so too, and I think and Trump has that in mind.
Yeah, and I think he actually has that in mind, and I think that Mexican president, I think he has that in mind too.
He wants, you know, it's like Trump said during the speech, you know, he saw the benefit. He sees the benefit of America, and we also see the benefit of Mexico, you know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's face it, there's no better labor anywhere in the world.
No.
I know that because I've had a lot of experience with it. And there's nowhere in the world you're going to find better labor.
You know, I love the fact that he didn't compromise. You and I talked about
Yeah.
that before the show. He did not compromise at all,
Right.
Gary. I mean,
Right.
he stuck right to his guns, you know,
Right.
on deportation. The same thing he said at the beginning,
Yeah.
you know. If you're here illegally, you've got to go and start over again. And that's the way it should be. That is exactly the way. It's, you know, you can call it what you want. It's the law. That's the bottom line.
Right. And you know what people have to look at too is, you know, I mean, we all want to feel good about ourselves and so forth, but think about it and just try to think for a moment, how in the world could I think good about myself if I'm supporting someone that's a known criminal, a known liar,
Yes.
not just a little liar. I'm talking about the Congress and the FBI, and gets
everything.
by with it.
And Benghazi, when you think about, I mean, it goes on and on. She lied to the parents of those poor
Scandal
soldiers that were
after
killed.
scandal since Arkansas.
Yes.
Scandal after scandal after scandal. And how in the world do I sit there and have any respect for myself to say, by God, I'm voting for that woman?
And then she stands up. I mean, we've talked about this before. In lieu of that awful thing that happened down in Orlando, and she stands up the very next day and talks about women's rights and how she's for gay rights and women's rights, and yet she accepted $25 million from Saudi
Right.
Arabia, a country that kills people for being gay.
Yeah.
What a hypocrite.
My God, I mean, it's total. She is, I just don't see how in the world she could even live with herself.
I guess when you're corrupt so long, it just becomes a way of life.
Well, that's
you know.
what she is, and of course, she's the perfect candidate to be a communist dictator.
Oh, yes.
Because that's how they operate. She has no qualms in killing people.
No.
I seen a little clip where she talked to, I think it was Madam Albright, after she engineered that Libya deal and got rid of Gaddafi. She says, we came, we conquered it, and he died. And she laughed.
Oh, yeah.
She
Oh,
has
yeah.
no qualms.
You know that book by the FBI, The Secret Service Man? You and I talked about that. Excuse me. I can't think of the name of the book right now, nor can I think of the author. But he was on Megyn Kelly's show. Mm-hmm. You would not believe some of the things he said. It was unbelievable, some of the things he said that Hillary Clinton, how she talked to the staff,
Right.
how she talked down to them.
I've read that,
You know?
yeah.
And then when some big dignitary would come around the White House,
yeah.
she'd put her arms around him and said, "This is my favorite Secret Service
Oh,
agent.
yeah.
He's always here for me," you know? And yet, 2 hours earlier, she made him look like crap.
Oh, yeah, right in
know.
front of everybody.
In front of everyone.
Yeah,
you know?
no.
This is the
She
woman,
has-
and she has the nerve to
and
talk
she-
about Donald Trump's language. I mean, her language, according to this the Secret Service agent, and I believe him, was just off the chart.
Well, she's been controlled, has been controlled. The Clintons have been controlled from day one. After all, they didn't have anything gone for them except the fact that they're electable, and of course, then they're crooked enough, both of them, and that went through Arkansas, and of course went in through the President of the United States and so forth. I mean, can you imagine the guy was bombing people because he was wanting to take the attention off of what's going on with him and this gal in the Oval Office? I mean, can you imagine somebody like that? I mean, so now she goes along, and she wants to become President of the United States. Well, and she's using the woman card, but here's the thing. You're not against a woman being President of the United States. I'm
No.
not against a woman being president.
not at
Nobody
all.
is. And nobody's against having a black man being President of the United States. But not Obama,
Yeah,
but not Hillary Clinton.
absolutely. Neither one.
Another woman, another black man, yes. You see what I
Oh,
mean?
absolutely. She's just a continuation hand.
That's all.
And people have to realize that. That's
In fact,
exactly
I just
what
wonder
she is.
sometimes if that wasn't all part of the plan, And she says, well, yeah, but let me be Secretary of State so I can rip these people off like hell won't have it. You know what I mean?
Hey, I think Obama's very much a part of what's going on. I think he is,
Well,
and I can't stand up and say that. That's just my thoughts.
Well, here's the thing, though, Ray. Once you get, and I read the book on this years ago, once you get trapped into the web of the Clinton corruption, man, you're done. Let's look at the FBI director. Let's look at Janet, what's her name?
Loretta Lynch?
Loretta Lynch. And of course, we can
You can go on and on
Yeah.
and on and on.
Look at the guy that's the head of home security.
Oh, yes. Perfect example. Perfect example.
You talk about putting the fox in the hen house. They're going to make him look after, see if we're going to have voter fraud.
Just unreal. I get so frustrated sometimes thinking about
Yeah, but
why.
Ray, we're going to have voter fraud, and how they are setting it up. If we're not careful, I should say. I guess there's a way we can prevent it. I don't know. I don't see how you're going to deal with that guy.
No, I
But
don't.
here's
either.
what, if you think about it, and you look at all the polls by the major media, it's always Hillary and Clinton close, right? Hillary and
Donald.
Trump.
Yeah, close.
And they're like this, okay? And then I go to social media, and there's people out there doing polls, and one poll was pretty.
And we're talking about extensive polls
talking
with thousands
about-
of people
yeah.
instead of 300 like
Right.
they do.
This one I looked at, it kind of surprised, was 50,000 people.
Oh, my goodness.
Polled. And they were all had voted, so they weren't somebody walking down the street. And they were all registered and they took the same number of Democrats same number of Republicans, and the same number of independents.
Independents.
And they polled those people, and they had all previously voted. And that was they got the registrar from the state. And they polled 50,000 people. Well, when they come out with a poll, it was Trump 69%, and Clinton was 19%.
Oh my goodness, you're talking about a landslide.
I mean, and then I says, well, wait a minute. Then I seen another poll just the other day. I seen a poll where it said it had, and this poll had Trump like, I don't know, 79%, something like that.
Oh my goodness.
And Clinton was 5%, and the two other guys, I don't even know their name, they were ahead of her.
They were?
They were ahead of her. Well, I'm just saying, that's one poll.
Well,
okay?
I shouldn't be surprised because, you know, her credibility, and we've said this for a while, is starting to slip more every day.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even the liberal leftist polls had Trump behind 10 points a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
And now he's up within the margin of error, like
Right.
2 points or something, which tells you.
Well, let's take North Carolina. There's no way Trump is going to win in North Carolina. There's just way too many black people in North Carolina for Trump to win. Okay? I seen a poll just last week, 32% of this was taken with black voters, 32% Trump.
Oh my goodness, what did
That's
Romney
in North
get?
Carolina.
What did Romney get? 6%?
Something like
that?
that, yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That tells you something right there.
Well, you know, they could say, well, yeah, he got that poll. That's not official. How come I keep seeing those, though? You know, it goes on
You
and
know,
on.
interesting thing on Hannity this morning, he had a truck driver who drives across the country, and I started thinking about this. This guy said, excuse me, he said wherever he goes, all he sees is Trump signs. He said, I have yet to see a Hillary sign.
Is that
And I
right?
started thinking
Wow.
about that, you know, and I'm everywhere, and especially in the more affluent parts of Fresno, you're going to see nothing but Trump signs. I have not seen a Hillary sign. In fact, if there's anyone out there who has seen a Hillary sign, I'd like for you to call in. And by the way, if you're watching us now, we're live, and you can call in and talk. The number will appear on the screen. If you call later, it'll be a rebroadcast. But if there's anyone out there that's seen a Hillary sign, call in. I'd like to know about that because I haven't seen one.
I haven't either.
Not one. And you pointed out something, too, and kind of related to that. Trump there are crowds of 20,000, 10,000.
Right.
Hillary's playing to 400 or 500, 700 people. She can't even fill up a baseball stadium. That tells you something right there. That tells you where
Well,
the
that's
people
another
are.
thing. You sit there and see that, you say, God, Trump can't fit them all in.
Yeah.
I seen it. There was one rally. Had people could drive their car. They had to turn the cars back, and the guy says, "Well, at least I come to a Trump rally. I can say I went to a Trump rally. That's why." He said, "Well, why did you come when you knew it was going?" He said, "I just want to say I've been
Been to a Trump rally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she can't fill an 8th grade classroom, you know. So I think that
Her credibility is slipping, Garrett.
well, and there's a reason too why you don't even see more Trump signs, because I've talked to a number of people that are afraid to put a Trump sign and they'll get vandalized. And I don't blame them.
People ask me all day, all the time. They said, "Aren't you afraid to wear that Trump shirt?" I said, "For what?" You know,
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I have 13 of them now. I wear them every day. I wear a different one every day. And
Well,
a different one for my show every Thursday.
I'll tell you what, personally, I can't see how you would be anything but ashamed to wear a Clinton shirt.
You won't see any. I haven't seen any.
I mean,
I
I'd
doubt
be
very
so
seriously.
ashamed of myself.
Absolutely.
Let's say I was a Clinton fan until I met you, and and then I said, "Ray, I just can't. I'm just so embarrassed."
Well, because that's gonna automatically associate you with all these bad things that this woman has
Oh,
done,
I mean,
you know?
I'll tell you what the scary thing is, is that communism deal. That scares the living daylights out of me, and it can be done, and it has been done, and it is being done as we speak.
You brought up Venezuela a couple.
Yeah.
Venezuela was a very prosperous
Yeah.
country. It's extremely prosperous. They are now a third. And people might disagree with me. I think I'm right. I think they're a third world country.
They're not even a country.
Yeah.
You got people starving to death. They got forced labor. And here's something else that people have to realize. And let's get back to that part of it, because
Okay.
this is important to explain the communist situation. They go through a long period of drip by drip, and we understand that. We know there's something wrong with it. We can't have God in our, all the other stuff, right? Can't have God in our courtrooms or
Our schools.
nothing. And regardless, we can't have a lot of things. We can't have Pledge of Allegiance. We can't, and all this. Okay, so that's what you're not going to see any of that in a communist country.
Of course not.
Then how come we're taking it out of our country?
It's a very good question, Gary. It's a very good question.
Okay.
We've sold out, or we've been sold out.
Okay, now what you have to have, there's never been a communist country become a communist country with having available what this is their words, useful idiots. Who are the useful idiots? The useful idiots are the people that are getting these handouts and afraid to lose them. We talked about, but free isn't always free last time.
No, yeah,
right?
and it's not, and they've been getting these handouts forever, it seems.
Right, and they think that, by God, I'm voting for them. Okay, now it goes communist. The first thing that the communists do when they take power is get rid of what was once useful idiots have now become useless idiots.
Absolutely.
And they liquidate them.
That's exactly what happens. How
That's
sad
it.
is that? But it's very
Yeah.
true.
And the people that think, well, no, that is how it's happened, and we can name the countries. China, we can name Venezuela. Venezuela just went forced labor. And they all
know
go
that, but-
forced labor, okay?
Eventually, yeah.
And
well,
that's,
they have to.
That's
yeah.
how you get rid of the useful idiots. Man, you put them out there at 110 degrees for 12 hours and see how long they last.
Not very long.
Not very long.
Gary, we're gonna go to commercial here right now, and we'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit. Gary and I. Our job is to inform you. We have 69 days left from this date, ladies and gentlemen. So we want to inform you. We want to give you as much as we can so you can make an informed decision on that 69th day. We're going to go to commercial now, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. Okay, I'm supposed to tell you again that we're live right now, and if you want to call in, please call in. Like I said, I'd love to hear somebody call me in and tell me they saw a Hillary Clinton plaque, a Hillary Clinton bumper sticker, or something with Hillary Clinton, because I have not seen one during this whole time. I haven't seen one, and Gary said he hadn't seen one yet either. We're going to talk here a little bit about a couple of things. Gary, what do you think about where we are right now? I
feel pretty good about it.
I do too.
Yeah, I feel real good about it. I think people are really wising up. I tell you, one clue I get a little bit is Trump always he's going everywhere, right? All over the country,
Absolutely.
constantly. I mean, how he does it, I don't know. My God, if that would have been Obama go down to Mexico, he'd have taken 2 weeks off and
of
played
course
golf.
he would. Of course
Trump
he
gives
would.
the biggest speech he ever made in his life.
And then goes to Arizona and gives
Yeah.
another one, and then gets up this morning and goes to Cincinnati. We're going to see a little bit of that video.
I mean, how in the world? And so, I think that he always says the American people are amazing, and when he says that, I can tell that he's they really are amazing. You know what I mean? They're catching on. They're catching on.
starting to catch on.
He keeps bringing that up, and it's almost like he's surprised. You see what I mean? And I feel pretty good about it because I can't find anybody that says they're not.
Well, there's a bunch of things that indicate that. Like you said, he's playing to crowds of 10, 15, 20,000. Hillary Clinton can't fill a baseball field.
Well,
so that tells you.
You get down to seeing I started looking at, I said, well, what evidence do we have that we're heading for a dictatorship? Man, I got scared. I mean, when you have laws that aren't being used at all, like immigration laws.
Yes.
Okay, like for instance, this thing that Hillary went through, the law was totally disregarded.
And they keep doing it. I mean, Obama's done it for 7.5 years.
And I says, well, wait a minute. And then we take the Constitution. They're trying to, my God, on and on, trying to nail that. They don't want a Constitution. Well, there won't be one when they take over. Let's put it that way.
there won't be.
And so that's
First and Second Amendment will be out the door.
Right. And then the next thing, in which they will be out the door, will be guns. Man, I can't understand, Ray, especially this one area alone, why a black man living in this country, or black woman, Americans in this country, with the right to carry arms after that was something that they did not have at all,
not
or
at
there
all.
would have been slavery that long.
Yeah.
And here they are voting for someone that wants to take them away, that would put them right back to where they were back then. It just doesn't make sense.
It all goes back to being almost hypnotized and believing that everything Democratic, everything liberal, and it's back. Basically, it's back to what you said. Let's give these people a handout. Let's keep giving them. Let's keep giving them stuff. And somebody said today, one of the most important things is the appointment of the judge to take Scalia's place. You know, I mean, that's going to go on for years and years.
Right.
It's going to affect this country for years. Supreme Court judge.
Absolutely. And that's about as big a risk as anything we're not even talking about.
Yes.
I talked to a friend of mine up in Alaska today, and she's Eskimo, and she was telling me at one time all Eskimos were Republicans.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
I didn't either. And then she said, all of a sudden, here come the Democrats and started giving all these Eskimos freebies, you know.
Just like the trinkets they gave the Indians from
Just like
Manhattan. How sad is that?
The baubles and beads.
Baubles and beads.
Yep. Now, here's what's sad. Now that these people, what do? They don't do anything, so they didn't go out and fish. And now they're sitting there and like for fish for their dog food for the winter or something. They don't do anything. And now what alcoholism, drug use, it's phenomenal out there in the bush. It's terrible because they don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that's destroying a people.
Of course it is.
And when I look at what I see with the inner cities, which I'm paying a lot more attention because I see it all the time, that is destroying a people.
And it has been. It has been for years and
I mean,
years.
that is
and
racist beyond I just can't understand it. How in the world can somebody sit there and think that's a good deal? They're destroying the spirit that you talk about hope. There is no hope, right?
no, that's what I'm learning. And the pursuit of happiness, that's out the window.
I'll tell you what. Back when the slaves were freed, they had a lot more hope than people today. Think about that.
Absolutely.
Think about, man, I'm free. I got hope now. I'm not saying it wasn't a rough road.
And you and I have talked about this. We've talked about the young man on welfare and you know, and why should he go out and get a job? He's unskilled. He's not going to make the money that he's making
Right,
that the government's paying him.
Right.
You know, so I don't blame the men nearly as much as I blame the government that enabled it.
Oh, I
to do
put
this.
100% on the
Yeah.
government. Why blame the man? We can figure that. We can figure that out without needing government. to tell us.
Absolutely.
He'll just fall off by the wayside, or he'll succeed. Right? I don't need the government to determine that. And so when you look at what they're doing with with taking the spirit from a people, just like up there, I mean, those people lived for how many thousands and thousands of years,
And they were just fine.
and they
I
were
bet.
fine. And then along comes this, and now what happens? It's the spirit is going to take that away, make them useful idiots, so we can take over. And what do we do? Get rid of the useful idiots.
They're
And I'll make
expendable.
that very plain.
They're expendable.
You're a baseball man. You got a baseball team, 9 players. So you get 39 to try out to see who's going to make that team because you want a championship team.
Absolutely.
So then you have those 39 people try out. You pick your 9 people. That is going to be a championship team. What do you do with the other 30?
They're expendable.
You get rid of them.
Absolutely.
Because if you kept them around, you're not going to be a championship team. In fact, you're going to finish last.
Absolutely.
So you
Good
get rid of
analogy,
them.
Gary.
And
Very
I'll tell
good
you,
analogy.
thinking over a country as a dictator, you think the dictator wants those people around?
No, of course not.
Do you think if a
They're
dictator
an
takes
added
over,
expense, for one thing.
Do you think the dictator's going to want all these people in that inner cities? They're going to get rid of them
One way or another.
one way or another.
Absolutely. Beautiful analogy. You know, and we've talked about it, and you and I on several different occasions, but, you know, when you've been told something over and over again, like Hitler in 1935, and brainwashed the people, there are so many minorities. I ran into a guy today that came up to me and said, "You're voting for Trump?" He looked at my shirt. He said, "He's a racist." I said, "He is?" Have you ever walked through Trump Towers and saw the people in managerial positions in Trump Towers? Well, I have. And there's a ton of them, you know. And you're telling me this. Who told you that? And he said, "Oh, I heard it on TV." I went, "Oh, my goodness."
Well,
You know,
see,
it's,
what
you
he
know,
doesn't realize is he is the perfect subject of a racist. Now that's
Oh,
racist.
he's a Hillary Clinton follower
Well,
from the get-go. He's a
but I'm
perfect
tell-
candidate
But
for that.
what he
for that.
is he's a perfect. But he's taking his orders. Let's say call it orders.
Mm-hmm.
But he's taking his thought from the real racist. I mean,
Sure
isn't
he
that
is.
racist when you
Well, of
when you
course it
do
is.
that?
Of course it is.
I mean, that's so much as saying, "Hey, you're not good enough for this. You can't do this. You can't do that." Why? Well, because you're the wrong color.
Yeah.
That's racist.
But they buy it. People buy it. I mean, it's time after time. We've got a generation upon generation that it's instilled in them, almost like racism, the other type of racism, like say the KKK or somebody.
Right.
It's instilled in generation after generation after generation. It's hard to break that mold.
Well, it is hard, but it takes, and you just got to be patient, you know, and you can't expect it overnight, but little by little. You know, I mean, we've all changed our thoughts from one thing to another over a period of time.
Yes.
You said one time you was a Democrat, or were you?
Oh yeah,
I was.
well with my parents until
Well, so was I.
until I got out and started working for myself and realized that
So was I a Democrat.
became a part of the real world.
But after, little by little, after I started seeing it around, and I thought, wait a minute, I either got to leave this party because I think it's left me.
1976. I've been a Democrat for 40 years, and I'm proud. A Republican for 40 years.
Yeah.
And the older I get, the more conservative I get. I've noticed.
Well, I think that the Democrat is the left. The left is Kremlin, you know.
Yeah.
And,
Good point.
and forget the political correctness and everything. My God, let's just look at the evidence. Look what's going on now. Laws are not being followed by our officials, including the President of the United States, defying the laws and getting by with it. Our heads, like the Secretary of State, defying the laws, enriching herself.
And getting
with
away
the
with it,
biggest
selling the country down the river.
the biggest money laundering thing in the world. Exposing the country secret and put it in every man, woman, and child in a less secure position.
That's the thing, Gary. I mean,
What more do you need?
You know, this woman, like you said, she put this country at jeopardy.
Absolutely.
No.
Well, I know.
For her own personal gain. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you that Gary, like Gary and I said, Donald Trump made a great speech in Mexico and then got up, I don't know how he does this, and went to Arizona and made another great speech last night, and then this morning made a speech in Cincinnati. And if we can go to that, Robert, we're going to go to that, and I want you to look a little bit at this. It's very important. We're not going to play the whole thing, but we're probably going to play about 5 or 6 minutes of it, and then Gary and I are going to come back and talk about that. We're here to inform you. That's what we want to do. We got 69, and I keep saying that, 69 days until this.
Yeah.
We step up and make a decision as to the direction of this great country.
Thank you so much. What a great honor and privilege to speak to you today. The American Legion is very, very special, so thank you very much. I want to thank Commander Dale Barnett and your vice commanders and your constitutional officers. You have all done such an incredible job. The fact is, you are incredible people. The men and women of the American Legion represent the best, absolute best of America. Strength, courage, selfless devotion. Your organization and its members have done so much to defend our country, our flag, and to advance the cause of Americanism, not globalism. Remember, America first, America first. You're one group I don't have to tell you to remember it also. You know it. We are in your debt very deeply. I will never let you down. Together, we're going to work on so many shared goals. But I want to begin by discussing one goal that I know is so important to you: promoting American pride and patriotism in America's schools. Very important. In a Trump administration, I plan to work directly with the American Legion to uphold our common values and to help ensure they are taught to America's children. We want our kids to learn the incredible achievement of America's history, its institutions, and its heroes, many of whom are with us today, I can tell you, including, by the way, two special people, Mayor Rudolph Giuliani and Senator Jeff Sessions. They're right here. We will stop apologizing for America, and we will start celebrating America. We will be united by our common culture, values, and principles, becoming one American nation. One country, under one Constitution, saluting one American flag, and always saluting it. The flag all of you helped to protect and preserve. That flag deserves respect, and I will work with the American Legion to help to strengthen respect for our flag. You see what's happening? It's very, very sad. And by the way, we want young Americans to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. In addition to teaching respect for the flag, we also have to make sure we give our military the tools they need to defend that flag and to deter violence and aggression from our foreign adversaries, of which there are many. We will rebuild our depleted military and pursue a state-of-the-art missile defense. We will do it based on those three very famous words: peace through strength. We will make sure our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines have the best equipment, training, tools anywhere in the world. Nobody will be able to compete with us. And we will ensure that they have the best medical care in the world, both in service and when they return home as civilians.
I'm back. I really wanted you to see that. The three speeches in 2 days. Just phenomenal, huh, Gary? You know?
I don't see how he does it.
I don't know how he does it. Gary made a point earlier about going down there with one airplane, and it would have taken Obama 3, I think. It's just amazing. He uses his own money. He's not a bought man. Hillary Clinton owes so much debt to special interests, she'll never pay it all. The only way she can pay it all is selling this country down the river.
Well,
she's already done.
that's her ticket.
Yeah.
But you know, like she was saying, well, a trip like that, you can't go down there, because she was invited also. It takes 2 months of planning and all that. This man does it in 5 days, his own airplane, and gives the biggest speech that he's probably given the whole campaign
And then-
that night. And here he is in the morning in Ohio.
Yeah, he
he
goes-
was in Everett, Washington the night before.
He was in
and
Arizona. You know, he goes from there to Arizona to
I can't keep
Cincinnati.
up. I get tired keeping up with him. Sitting in
He's
my
70 years old and he's got
desk.
energy of a 30-year-old. It's amazing. This is the kind of man that we want to lead this country, a person of strength. Hillary Clinton doesn't have that kind of strength. She
Well-
can't stand up and with
Well,
the
that's
stress.
right. I don't know if too many that can, but let's just think about this also. You imagine in 5 days, he accomplished in 5 days with his own money, with less expense by who knows how much than it would have taken that same trip by Obama or Hillary. She said, no, I need 2 months of planning and 3 big, I mean, we're talking about 3 airplanes and hauling all that down. Oh, my God. This guy gets it all done in 5 days, and then he takes and says, man, that was a tough trip. I might have to cancel that speech tonight in Arizona. No, he gives that speech in Arizona.
And then gets up in the morning and goes to
And he's
Cincinnati.
giving this speech.
The man is phenomenal. He is just phenomenal. You know, ladies and gentlemen, Gary and I tell you, every time I have him, I'm fortunate enough to have him on the show, that you need to do your due diligence. You know, you don't have to necessarily take it. Do your due diligence so that you can, we're going to give you as much as we can so that you can make an informed decision 69 days from today. We're coming down to it. This is really, really important. Really important.
That's true, and that chance, and when it really gets down to a choice, and the choice is saving America, wouldn't you want to be on the side that saves America?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Gary.
Absolutely. I mean, not only America, but your own family, and that's the hope.
It's the greatest country
I
in the history
guarantee
of
you.
countries, lady. In the history of the world, we live in the greatest country. We should be so. I feel so fortunate that I'm here.
I know one thing. This thing goes in the direction, and I use the word communism, but a form of it or whatever it does. If it goes that direction with her Supreme Court selections and her she's already proven she can avoid the law.
Yeah.
So that's lawless, except for your law.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's going to be her decision. Now, you look at something like that. I mean, doesn't it tell you that, hey, man, I really don't want that. I don't care how many free popsicles I get.
That's right.
You know. And so I think that's we're at a critical deal. And I tell you what, it's almost like, please vote the right way so that I and my family and my friends and
Can survive.
and the whole country.
Yeah, can survive.
Yeah.
You know, because this country, and I hear it almost daily. I watch CNN and 20, and I go in and look at the Drudge Report. I look at reports daily, every single day, for my show and for myself, so that I feel informed. And I think when people do that, it's almost like you said, Gary. People are starting to
Well,
see
the evidence is there, Ray. It's not like I'm coming up with evidence.
No.
There's not a word I said that isn't happening.
I know that.
I didn't say this is going to happen.
This
I
is
said
happening.
This
You're
is
right.
happening. Okay, like we read that the other day, the steps taken to become a communist
Yeah.
country. What did we say? 8 of them has already been done?
Yeah, 8 of them's been done, and the
Or
last
six, yeah.
hope is
Yeah.
this election right here.
That's it.
That's where we're at. And you know, Hannity said something like that almost
Really?
verbatim today. Yes, and I thought about, man, that's just like Gary. It's brilliant, and it's true. It is so true.
Well, by gosh, if Hannity called me to go on his show, and you called me on the show, and it happens to be the same day, same hour, I'm coming to your show,
Oh
Ray.
man, am I honored! I am so honored. What a great thing to say. Thank you. Gary.
All they do
Thank
is get
you.
on there and fight and bicker. I get sick of that.
I love it.
We
Thank
sit
you,
here and
buddy.
have fun, feel good about it.
We do. Every time you're on there. And the thing about it is, you know, Sandra, my girlfriend's just brilliant. She really is. Like I said, she's a lot smarter than I am, you know. And she hadn't had a chance to meet you yet, and she takes notes. She told me the first show that you did, she took notes. Like she does when Trump's speaking. She'll sit and take notes, you know. And there's a lot of people like her out there. So you know what we're going to do? I'm being signaled. We're going to take a break here, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. Okay, we're back. We're going to have to close real quick here, and I want to thank Gary for being my guest once again, and he's so informative, and I hope you take to heart what he says. He's a brilliant man. I learn things from him every time he comes on the show, and right in front of you, I'm going to put him back on the
Well,
block
thank you,
here.
Rick.
You're going to come back, right?
Oh, sure, why not?
Great.
This is too much fun.
I want to tell you a little bit about what happened to me as I close here. And this week in going out and meeting people and talking to people about hope, the pursuit of happiness, and the American dream, I ran into a lady. She was a cranky older lady, and she's one of those people that puts you in your place real quick. Kind of like my mother. I always admire people like that. And she said point blank to me, she says, well, you're asking us about hope, you're asking us about the pursuit of happiness, and you're asking us about the American dream. How do you feel about that? And I said, well, I struggled too during the Obama. I'm a businessman, and with the regulations, especially in this state, I struggled too. But I've always been resilient. And I've always had hope. Every morning when I get up, I have hope. And mostly I get my hope from the people that I meet every day and talking to the people. As far as the pursuit of happiness, I pursue happiness every single day of my life. On the way to work, meeting people, talking to people. And I feel like I live the American dream. And I'm not where I want to be, but I'll get there. And I'll tell you why. Because I have hope in Donald Trump. And I think he'll turn this thing around. And I think wherever we're at, ladies and gentlemen, wherever we're at, we will all be better off for that. And like I do every week, I like to close with a little something to think about, and it's always the same. You know, I want people to recognize our law enforcement officers in this town. I just talked to one this morning. And when you see one, wherever that is, take a few seconds of your valuable time and thank that man for a thankless job. You know, they're out there to protect us every day. They're wonderful people. And so, basically, give them some thought and thank them for what they do. So until I joyously meet with you again next Thursday, heaven's blessings.
CentralValleyTalk.com